Hey y'all, welcome to the Wild Garden Farms kitchen. Today we are going to make something absolutely delicious, a different preparation of lavender. Last week we made a much more traditional preparation with a lavender glycerite. Today we are going to make some baked goodies that taste so delicious and are a really incredible way to work the herbs into our food and to take our medicine in a way that is fun and inviting and just pretty decadent. Everyone will want to eat it. So just to review, benefits of lavender: incredibly calming, very soothing to the nervous system, help to dissolve tension. It's a great antiseptic internally and externally. Really, we're working with nervous system on this one. We're letting our bodies chill, we're letting ourselves open up, and really calling in that relaxation with a little side of sugar. So we are making lavender blueberry scones. Lavender and blueberry go so well together, just like lavender and lemon. So we're gonna be using some lemon zest as well. I have 3 cups of, this is actually a sprouted wheat flour from Lindley Mills. I love this place. I'm so lucky it's right down the road, but you definitely can order it online. I'll put the link below. You can use organic flour, or you can use a blend of coconut, almond, and cashew flour. I'm using the sprouted whole wheat today. So I've got 3 cups in my bowl. And by the way, I've got my oven set to 400. It is preheated and ready to go. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a generous pinch of sea salt. So I just threw this in the blender, my lavender flowers, a teaspoon of this ground lavender. So that is going right into the batter. Smell the aromatics. It's already starting to kind of calm me down a little bit. I'm like, yeah, ready for these scones. And the flowers are so reminiscent of spring, which is what my body is ready for right now. So I'm just gonna give this a good stir, mix all of these ingredients together. So this is the salt, the baking powder, the flour, and the lavender. And then we're gonna add a tablespoon of hard coconut oil, so not melted. I got a good tablespoon here. We want it to have that kind of biscuit dough-like consistency where it's a little bit clumpy, everything's not necessarily smooth. And then we're just gonna get in there and get our hands messy and work it into the flour until it's all a bit crumbly. It's getting a bit crumbly. We want the fat incorporated throughout. Go wash your hands. Now that we have the coconut oil nice and incorporated, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar. You have several options here: coconut sugar or sucanat, which is an unrefined sugar, so it still has all of the minerals and it hasn't been completely stripped away. It's not devoid of the natural qualities of sugar or molasses. So I'm just gonna give this a blend. Oh, also, as I'm blending, I'm going to add the zest of 1 lemon. So I've already zested this lemon. Like I said before, lavender and lemon and blueberry go so well together. So springy, so fresh. Man, I am ready for winter to be over. But this is a great summertime treat too. And it's really nice in the winter whenever you need a little pick-me-up, a little brightening, and a little remembering of what it's like to be bright and light and uplifted. Next, we add the wet. So 1.5 cups of the milk of your choice. So this could be raw milk. I'm using coconut milk. You can use really whatever you like. So 1.5 cups. Just get that milk nice and blended. And now it's really starting to look like a dough. It's going to be thick. It's not going to be very liquidy. Okay, now, as I fling dough all over the kitchen, the last step here is to add the blueberries. I had frozen wild blueberries, so I let them thaw and poured off a little bit of the water, but it's really fun, fresh or frozen work. So I'm just gonna mix these in, kind of fold these in. It's all right while you're stirring if the blueberries get squished and start to turn the dough. I think it's fun because it's telling of the herb that's in there as well. Some purple lavender blueberry scones. The batter is thick, but this is how it's supposed to be. We're gonna turn it out onto a baking sheet already prepared with some parchment paper. And you really want to try to keep it in a circular shape because think about scones, they're usually in that triangle formation. So we want to keep it nice and cute and scone-like. I like using a separate piece of parchment paper on top. It makes it easy to kind of spread things out, keep it in that shape, and keep it in even thickness. And if you want to, at this point, you can also use a rolling pin. All right. It does not have to be perfect. Look, this is not a perfect circle at all. I kind of like the thicker scones. I like to take a full bite with my tea and really taste the lavender, blueberry, and lemon in there. Get a pizza cutter or a knife, and we're gonna cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. So we're just making triangles here, and then cut that. Now it's starting to get a little sticky. That in half. And this one in half. So it's looking like a pizza, and we're gonna bake it just like this. And then afterward, we'll pull the slices apart once it's cooled a little bit. I'm just gonna take a little bit of sugar because this dough is really not very sweet. And I'm gonna sprinkle it on top, and you can just gently push it down. But I love that crispy, crunchy, sugary bite. Again, this is not a lot of sugar. This recipe doesn't need much to bring out the brightness, the lemon and the blueberry and the lavender. See how much I put on top? I ended up cutting these one more time. So they're gonna be a little bit of longer, skinnier scones, and it'll go in the oven for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna keep an eye on it just until everything is nice and risen and brown. So I took the scones out of the oven. The entire house smells like a bakery. This is what I love so much about cooking with herbs. It's not only the process of getting your hands in there, having this very personal experience with all the ingredients and the plants, but this whole 20 minutes that it's been cooking, I've been taking deep breaths. It makes me happy. The house smells so good. It's just enlivening and brightening. And such a cool way to eat your medicine. So I'm gonna let this cool for another 5 minutes, and while it's cooling, we are going to make the icing. This is optional, but it just adds that nice decadent touch. And it gives us another way to add some lavender into the recipe. So from that lemon that I zested, I squeezed about 3 tablespoons into this bowl. I'm gonna do a cup of organic powdered sugar, just got this at Whole Foods. And you'll see it'll get a nice silky icing texture to it. And it might take a few minutes of blending to get all the clumps out, but it's a good arm workout for the day. And if you need to get in here with a spatula to smooth out the clumps, go for it. This is a lavender recipe, so it would not be complete without adding a little bit more powdered lavender. We're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon, not as much as in the batter because this isn't gonna be baked into anything. It's just gonna be pretty lavender forward. If the icing is too thin, this may be a little thin. See how it's kind of soupy? Just add a little bit more powdered sugar. If it's too thick, add a little bit more lemon juice. I think this is a good consistency. Check it out. A little bit thicker than it was before. I probably ended up adding another 2 to 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Before I try to pull these apart, I'm just gonna reinforce the lines, the cuts, a little bit more so they pull apart beautifully. Just like this. So they've pulled apart really nicely. I'm just gonna separate them out. Strider wants to join us with his bone right in the kitchen right now. So these have cooled a lot, but they're not totally cool yet. So I'm gonna wait to put the icing on until they're totally cool. Maybe another like 15 minutes or so. I have my scones, I have my icing. The house smells ridiculous. I've got my scones. I've got the icing. I got a big spoon. So now it's time to drizzle the icing and complete our lavender recipe for the day. I like to just drizzle it back and forth. Oh, this is so pretty. Now, like I said before, the scones themselves aren't really that sweet. So if you want to make this a sweet treat, I would highly recommend doing the icing. And again, you know, make it a treat. Get a good quality sugar. So the icing will harden. So if you can, wait until it does. It adds such a nice texture and crunch that's really different from the texture of the scones, but look how pretty these are. Lavender blueberry scones. Aren't they beautiful? I recommend making a cup of tea, saving them for the morning to drink with your coffee, giving them to neighbors, sharing some with some friends. Have fun, play, eat your medicine, enjoy it, let your body chill, get grounded, slow down, embrace the calm, and call in the pleasure. See you next week.